me.
There's so many like these behavioral opportunities as you like, if we can familiarize ourselves with a set of tools that allows us a pause, right? Or a few pauses. What kind of different decisions might we have made in moments of just utter pain and like bottoming out that would have served us better? I could think of 1,000. Like, how might we have treated ourselves better? How might we have treated others better? How might we have like gone to sleep earlier, exercised more, drank less, like been kinder to our kids, like, or our partners?
You know, in the beginning stages of grief, we have no correlation between those interpersonal behaviors and the grief work that we're going through, you
Yeah.
know. And after year one, you come off as bitchy, not you, but you know, like it can't,
Sure. Yeah,
one can, you know, and it's
fine. I've been told. I've been
we're
told.
comfortable with it. We're comfortable with it. But you know, where in practice and in learning, you start to understand like, oh, there's an anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I've been a little shorter, less
Yeah.
resilient, less
Yeah.
flexible, you know,
Yeah.
less.
And it reminds me of one of the topics that we wanted to be able to talk about, like in some of these conversations, which is um, parenting and grief and explaining what grieving is and could look like to a young person. And it's like, it's maybe, it's step one, being able to go, oh yeah, my mom's anniversary is coming up, like, but like part of that is, I don't like exist in a vacuum or on an island. I live with my family, and so I have to sort of figure out how to have the language and the just like awareness to be able to say, this is actually, my mom died 21 years ago today, and it sometimes makes me feel sad, but sometimes it makes me feel kind of frustrated and like annoyed, and so it makes me a little short and blah blah blah, but understanding that we can, like, all of that stuff is okay. Like, me being irritable around my mom's death anniversary is like actually what appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
if we can communicate those things and understand that that's happening and sort of like own, like, this is how this is manifesting with me right now. Like, it's a lot less toxic or like destructive, both like internally and just
That's where the
within.
agency comes in,
Yeah.
you know, being
Yeah.
aware of yourself, what's going on, you know, it gives us a sense of control. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not like broken, I'm grieving. You know, that's where the agency comes in.
Yeah. And grieving, and because no one like explained grief to me. Like, no one, when my mom died, was like, this is what it could look like, other than like crying on the casket in the movie or like wearing all black. No one was like, hey, grief can look like any number of ways. So, we're all just sort of like flying blind, going like, I don't, like, thinking that we're doing it wrong
Yeah.
because.
Well, I mean, we even still equate the stages of grief with grieving, and not actually, it's the stages of death. That's not the stages of grief.
I always love that one. I'm like, thank you, but it's
Actually
actually.
correlate sometimes with grieving, right? We can get angry. We can, you know, be in despair. We can, right? We can go into those stages, but what she was actually describing was the dying process,
Yeah.
not the grieving process,
Right.
and conflated it. And there isn't a lot of work around what this looks like. I mean, people still equate grieving to some contrived timeline. There is no timeline. That doesn't exist. It's
Right.
just you then grieve and you ebb and flow, and that's the way it continues on. It's not a fixed thing where, okay, now you're in this stage, you're almost there, you're almost done.